Physics, as we know it, is built on pillars we consider unshakable. One of these pillars is Albert Einstein's general relativity, a theory that reshaped our understanding of the universe. Within it lies a concept that seems straight out of science fiction, but is an observational reality: gravitational lensing. Imagine spacetime as a stretched sheet. Now, place a bowling ball in the middle. The sheet bends, deforms. Any object attempting to pass nearby will follow this curvature. Light, even though massless, also follows suit. Einstein predicted that immensely massive objects, such as entire galaxies or galaxy clusters, warp spacetime so dramatically that light from distant sources passing through them is deflected and magnified. In effect, these cosmic giants become natural telescopes, allowing our own telescopes, like the James Webb, to see objects at the far reaches of the universe that would otherwise be forever invisible. We see duplicated and tripled images, ghostly arcs of light, and perfect rings known as Einstein rings. They are the fingerprints of gravity in action, visual proof that the universe is a much stranger and more malleable place than our intuition suggests. This technique is not just a curiosity. It is a fundamental tool of modern astronomy, allowing us to map the distribution of matter, visible and invisible, throughout the cosmos. It is a cosmic law, an effect directly proportional to mass. The greater the mass, the greater the distortion of light. A simple, elegant, and, so far, inviolable rule. And then, the unthinkable happened. The James Webb Space Telescope, the most powerful eye humanity has ever cast upon the heavens, was conducting a deep-field observation, a routine procedure to map the oldest galaxies in the universe. But the data returning from that small, dark patch of sky contained something initially dismissed as a calibration error, a sensor glitch. Scientists saw the unmistakable signature of gravitational lensing. The light from an extremely distant galaxy was being stretched, distorted into a ghostly arc. The problem, the detail that sent a chill down the spine of every astrophysicist who looked at the data, was that there was nothing there. Absolutely nothing. At the precise point in space where a massive galaxy, or a cluster with the mass of trillions of suns, should have been to cause such an effect, there was only a dark, cold vacuum. All the rules, all of Einstein's equations, said that to create that bend in light, a colossal amount of mass was required. And it simply wasn't there. There were no stars, no gas, no signature of a dark matter halo. It was like seeing an elephant's footprint in the sand without the elephant. Light was being bent by a phantom force, an anomaly that challenged the foundation of our cosmology. The universe, through Webb's gaze, was showing us that one of its most fundamental laws was somehow being circumvented. This anomaly becomes even more shocking when we remember how Einstein's theory was first proven. In 1919, the scientific world was skeptical. The idea that space and time were not absolute, but rather a malleable fabric, seemed absurd to many. Einstein had calculated that the immense mass of our Sun should be able to bend the light of distant stars passing near it. The effect would be tiny but measurable. The challenge was to observe these stars, which are obviously obscured by the Sun's own light. The solution? A total solar eclipse. British astronomer Arthur Eddington led expeditions to Principe Island, Africa, and Sobral, Brazil, to observe the eclipse of May 29, 1919. While the moon blocked the sun, they photographed the star field surrounding the darkened disk. Months later, they compared these images with photos of the same region of the sky taken at night, when the sun was not visible. The conclusion was unequivocal. The stars' positions had shifted. Their light had, in fact, been bent by the sun's gravity, exactly by the amount predicted by Einstein. It was a triumph that made headlines around the world and turned Einstein into a global celebrity. That historic event not only validated general relativity, it established a fundamental principle. The distortion of light is irrefutable proof of the presence of mass. A century later, James Webb uses this same principle every day. But now, he has found the opposite: the distortion of light without the presence of mass, a puzzle that undermines the legacy of that historic eclipse. The absence of visible mass in the Webb anomaly leads us to one of the greatest mysteries of the cosmos: dark matter. After Einstein's confirmation, astronomers began to notice something strange. Galaxies were spinning too fast, so fast that they should have been torn apart unless they contained far more mass than we could see. Clusters of galaxies held together when all calculations showed they lacked sufficient gravity. The solution was the postulation of dark matter, a mysterious substance that doesn't emit, absorb, or reflect light, but interacts gravitationally. And the main tool we have for mapping this invisible matter is, precisely, gravitational lensing. By observing how light from distant galaxies is distorted as it passes through a cluster, we can calculate the total mass present, including dark matter. We've created detailed maps of invisible dark matter halos that permeate the universe, and the models work perfectly. Dark matter, though mysterious, follows Einstein's rules of gravity. And that's precisely why Webb's new anomaly is so disturbing. Scientists have obviously considered dark matter. They've pointed every model, every simulation, at that spot in the sky, trying to find a scenario where a compact, invisible clump of dark matter could be the culprit. But nothing worked. To create the observed light distortion, the dark matter concentration would have to be so dense, so compact, that it would become visible in other ways, such as through gamma-ray particle annihilation. But there's nothing there. The anomaly doesn't fit dark matter models. It doesn't fit visible matter models. It simply doesn't fit anything. The anchor fact, the epicenter of this entire mystery, is the raw, irrefutable data from the James Webb Space Telescope. We're not talking about an interpretation or a theoretical model, but rather photons that traveled for billions of years and were captured by the observatory's beryllium mirrors. Webb's NIRCam, near-infrared camera, instrument, recorded what's known as a gravitational shear arc. The light from a background galaxy, whose distance was confirmed by spectrographic analysis, was visibly distorted. Analyzing the geometry of this arc allows scientists to precisely calculate the mass of the lensing object. The calculations have been redone dozens of times by independent teams around the world. The result is always the same. The gravitational lens exists and has the strength equivalent to a medium-sized galaxy cluster. However, in every other wavelength range, from visible to far infrared, from radio to X-rays, the region of space that should harbor this massive cluster is completely empty. It's a vacuum. This JWST detection, which was initially kept secret within the astronomical community, represents one of the most significant anomalies in modern cosmology. It directly violates what we know about the relationship between mass and gravity. The implications are profound. Either our theories of gravity are fundamentally incomplete, or a new type of object exists in the universe, something capable of generating a massive gravitational field without possessing corresponding mass. This is real, published, and verified evidence that forces science to confront the unknown. The investigation took an even more bizarre turn when astronomers decided to cross-reference the anomaly, data with catalogs of moving objects in our own solar system and beyond. It was a shot in the dark, an attempt to exhaust every possibility, no matter how remote. And then they discovered the coincidence that transformed an astrophysical mystery into a cosmic thriller. At the exact moment of the James Webb observation, a newly detected object was passing precisely in the line of sight between the telescope and the anomaly. The object, designated 3I Atlas, was the third interstellar object ever confirmed to visit our system. Its hyperbolic trajectory clearly indicated that it did not originate from our star, but from the depths of interstellar space. It was a silent traveler, too small to be seen in detail, just a point of light moving against the backdrop of stars. At first, The connection was dismissed as a monumental coincidence. How could such a small object, likely a comet or asteroid a few kilometers across, generate a gravitational field equivalent to a cluster of galaxies? It was impossible. But the precision of the alignment was too perfect to ignore. It was the gateway to speculation, the moment when some scientists began to whisper a heretical idea. What if the object wasn't just passing in front of the anomaly? What if the object is the anomaly? What if he wasn't bending light through mass, but through a method that conventional physics considers, for now, pure theory? Desperate for an explanation, some theoretical physicists have been forced to admit something that sounds like pure science fiction. They took the light distortion data observed by Webb and compared it with mathematical models of a warp drive, specifically the Alcubierre metric. Proposed by physicist Miguel Alcubierre in 1994, this theory describes a mathematically valid way within general relativity to travel faster than light. It involves not moving an object through space, but moving space-time itself around the object. The idea involves creating a warp bubble that contracts space-time in front of the ship and expands it behind it. The object inside the bubble would remain static, on its own island of flat space-time, while the universe would move around it. This contraction and expansion of the fabric of space-time would generate an extreme energy field at the edges of the bubble. And here's the theorist's confession. The way this energy field would distort the light from background objects is remarkably consistent with the anomalous gravitational arc detected by Webb. The distortion wouldn't be caused by mass, but by a direct and localized manipulation of space-time itself. The mathematics fit together with eerily precise precision. The hypothesis that emerged from this analysis was dizzying. What Webb detected wasn't gravitational lensing, but the side effect of an active propulsion field, an energy field from an object using technology we only dream of in equations. If this hypothesis is correct, the implications are shattering to the foundations of our existence. Object 3I, Atlas, is no mere passive traveler, a rock drifting through the cosmos. It is an active agent, an entity not merely subject to the laws of physics, but using them as tools. The ability to contract and expand space-time at will means it can create its own shortcut through the universe, traveling interstellar distances in short subjective times, without violating the cosmic law that nothing can move. Through space, faster than light. It moves space itself. This is not a natural phenomenon. This is the unmistakable signature of technology. The light distortion detected by Webb was not just a side effect, but possibly an intentional function. A field like this could be used not only for propulsion, but also as a deflector shield or, even more subtly, as a form of camouflage. By bending the light around it in a controlled manner, the object could become effectively invisible or disguise its true nature, appearing as a simple point of light, an ordinary interstellar comet. The revelation is that 3I Atlas doesn't just travel through space-time. It manipulates it, shapes it, commands it. We are observing proof that someone, or something, has mastered engineering on a scale bordering on godhood. This finding forces us to look at the Kardashev scale, a theoretical measure of a civilization's technological advancement based on its ability to utilize energy. A Type 1 civilization can harness all the energy of its planet. Humanity isn't there yet. A Type 2 leader, civilization can harness all the energy of its parent star, perhaps through a Dyson sphere. A Type 3 civilization can harness the energy of an entire galaxy. The technology needed to create and sustain a warp bubble manipulating the fabric of space-time would require amounts of energy that make the total output of a star seem trivial. We would, therefore, be dealing with the vestiges, or the active presence, of at least a Type 2 civilization, and more likely a Type 3, a civilization for which the laws of physics are not limits, but an instruction manual. The universe itself becomes a material to be molded. The energy of black holes, the creation of exotic matter, control over the dimensions of spacetime. All of these would be within its technological reach. Object 3I Atlas, whether a spacecraft or a probe, is not just a piece of advanced technology. It is a philosophical statement. It represents a level of existence and mastery over reality that is as far beyond us as we are from a bacterium. We are no longer alone in the universe. We are possibly in the presence of its true masters. This brings us to the final question, one that hangs over us with crushing weight. Ever since 3I Atlas entered our solar system, we've treated it as a scientific curiosity, a silent messenger from the interstellar abyss. But if it possesses the ability to bend the light around it, to actively manipulate how it is perceived, then everything we thought we knew about it may be an illusion. Its trajectory, its speed, its apparent size, its spectral composition, all could be part of a sophisticated camouflage. It can bend light to travel, but it can also bend it to hide. If it can project a phantom gravitational field that fools our most advanced telescope, what else has it been doing? Is it observing us? For how long? Was its passage here truly random, or was it a deliberate destination? The anomaly detected by Webb may not have been an accident. It may have been a momentary glimpse, a lapse in camouflage, or worse, it may have been an intentional message. The mystery of 3I Atlas is no longer about where it came from. It's about what it's hiding from us, here and now, as it silently crosses our cosmic backyard. And if it can bend light, what else can it bend?